going on, guys? Today we're installing some O2 bungs, which are not going to be 100% great and accurate for what we're doing, but they will give us some sort of tuning. So let's see what we can get done here today. Bam! We got us an O2 bung. Now we just drop that bad boy in there. We got a little slack, not a whole bunch, but we could probably get some. We're gonna have to take these clips off anyway so we can run this one over the other side, and it'll probably still have to get extended. But the key thing to remember here is do not put these right near the exit, because these things will spit out fire, which when that happens is burning a good amount of the exhaust gases that are in this area. You want, after that flame goes out in this area, those are the gases that you want to monitor as it comes down into here. So what this does, for everybody who doesn't know, an O2 sensor it measures the levels of oxygen in the exhaust gas, based on resistance and temperature. Okay, obviously, the more oxygen you feed to a fire or flame or combustion, the hotter it's going to get, right? So if we have less heat and a different resistance going across our lambda sensor here, you're going to get a different resistance reading, which is going to give you something you can then transmit or turn into an electrical signal based on that. There's a whole scale that you can look at based on that will show you, the ohms and volts versus a signal, and you can actually modify it, and that's how a lot of tuning is done. So my toy's down here, but anyway, so we got that done. I probably won't get around to doing that one today because A, it's kind of hot and my AC is not keeping up with everything. Oh no, typical Mustang, it's crashing here. Let's get that guy back up there. Also, I don't know if you can see it. There's a bird in there with eggs in the back of the General Mayhem Charger. This side, clean and clear. Anyway, so this one, normally I would like to put it, like I said, down, I think they say 18 inches minimum distance that you want to be, with like a maximum of like 24 or something to get the best reading, I think. So normally I'd like to put it somewhere down in here because this bend right here is probably 18 inches by the time you go around it and everything. But because there's a firewall here, we may not be able to. I may be able to get it from the top or from the bottom. But it may end up going right there in that curve, which is not ideal. Will not give us 100% perfect, but I mean, this exhaust is going to leak. It's going to have air where it shouldn't, and it's not going to be perfect. It's going to run. It would run without those sensors even plugged in. In fact, I was test running it without those sensors even in the car, and it'll rev, it'll do everything. But when you do that, when you run them that way, the computer defaults back to a setting, a fuel air setting, that is what I would call like a limp mode version of the map. which is the tune of inside the computer, the air fuel ratio tune and timing tune. So it kind of reverts back to like a safe setting. That way it knows, okay, there's no possible way at this safe setting, this general setting, that the motor is going to eat itself. So that's kind of what happens inside of these things when you run them without those. They actually make little sensors that fool it, that go where your O2 plug would go. And then, anyway, my rant is off. So now I got to cut this bad boy out. I don't know if I'll get it welded in today. I might not. I kind of feel like stepping away from exhaust, since that's what I did last episode. That's my ADD kicking in, ping-ponging me instead of staying on track. Gotta have that Dr. Pepper. But yeah, it's my ADD kicking in. So what I'm thinking about doing, look at all this junk under here. Tail lights, my squatting chair, some airbags back there. Turn that off for now. Big block Chevy electric water pump. What we want is fuel. Let's see. We gotta be careful though, because it has a special plastic fitting on it, so we don't want to break it. Which might be easier to. Oh, that's why I was getting hung up. It's still got a filter attached to it and a pump. So we're not going to use this pump. So it can go back in the box. That's a lot of. It goes. The hose clamp joint there. Hose clamp joint there. Hose clamp joint there. And it's going to be another one right there. It's not ideal, but I don't even think we're going to have enough to run this properly. I'm hesitant to take that out because I don't remember how I got it in. And it doesn't leak right now. But I want to run that from the fuel tank to our line here. So that's not nearly enough hose. So that's going to be an issue. We're going to have to do some changing and cutting here. I don't like that. Which means I'm going to have to fix this lid and cut it again. Which I'm not a big fan of doing, but whew. Trying to get that fuel line up here to this rail. That way I could put some fuel in it and test fire it today, but I don't foresee that happening. So let me get that lid back off and we'll pick up from there. All right, we're back. I got sick of messing with that exhaust or gas tank, so we're gonna move back to doing some exhaust stuff. We're gonna cut out this section. My original plan was to weld this section in, but the diameter of this pipe did not work well with the diameter of the exhaust that we built. So we're just gonna cut this threaded bung out. That way we can use it on the other side. So. Oddly more flat than I would like it. Hot. I need an actual sink in here so I can cool stuff like that off. I don't know if I can get a good point of reference on what I'm going to do here. Oh wow, yeah, that's not gonna work at all. I wanted to put it right there, which is way too close. But it's the easiest place to get in and weld to. So that was my thought process. But it's too flat and not curved enough for that sharp curved edge. I don't know if I can fix that. See, I was able to give it more of a curve, but it's still not going to fit perfect. So, give me a minute, let me see what I can come up with here. Alright, we're back. Whoop. See down there? Yeah, we got that guy burned in there. Now we can there we go. Well, if I can get hot. Ooh, it's hot. Threads are slightly wonky because they're glowing red hot still a little bit, so we're gonna let those cool down and then we'll try and put that in. But that will conclude our I'm trying to think of what else we can do today, guys. I would like to get this thing fired up. I don't believe that's going to happen today. I still need to find a permanent place for the battery to mount before I can dedicate myself to running actual terminals. We have plenty of wire. To do that, we just got to figure out where is the best place. I've thought about right here on these two bars, right here in front of the fuel cell, but I have this like I don't know, this like internal thing that's like, you should not put the battery next to the fuel. In reality, though, they would both be separated by multiple layers, and I mean, in the case of a rollover, that could cause an issue, but in the case of a rollover, I think it would be the same possibility statistically that it would catch on fire, based on the fact that you're going to be grounded to the frame, and anywhere that there's a hot wire run could, in a rollover situation, be pinched to the frame, causing a short, causing a spark. And so, I mean, it's kind of one of those things, you know? So I don't, like, my internal self was like, do not put the battery next to the fuel cell, but it was already right next to the fuel cell anyway, just beside it, not in front of it. So I don't know, like, but I just have that bad feeling like I shouldn't do it. But then the other side of me is going like, that's really a good spot for it because it's empty, it's got a nice flat surface I can weld the battery box into, it's convenient. We could put a safety switch on it, that way it's like right behind, like you can reach over your shoulder. Either the driver or the passenger can reach over their shoulder and kill the battery on the isolator. So I mean, like, I see like reasons not to, and also reasons to do it. So I don't know. For intake, I'm gonna get a pipe that big elephant trunk that comes off of here, 90s, and then goes back into this space to a cone filter with a nice box around it, fresh air box. That way if we go through water or thick sand or something like that, it doesn't get clogged up. It's kind of got, like, if you look, it's got like the perfect hole to like go right in there. Belts are on, hoses are in, fan still needs to be hooked up. Power steering is hooked up. Did I actually put power steering fluid in? That's a no. So, alright. Let's get our ground off of there. Push our welder back out of the way. Could work on the brake situation. Because I was thinking I don't need an adapter if I just change this line, which is this line, which is supposed to go to here, which is the front brakes. So this line is the rear. So I don't know. I don't know if I just change the line or if I just get an adapter. Seems like every time I take a line off this thing, it just bends the line in half though, so instead of coming unscrewed. The vent is hooked up. Well, alright, we got a little bit done, so let me sit back and find something else and then we'll be back again. I like just getting down on the ground and welding. Not always the most comfortable way to do it, but it is the way to do it. Then your pipe rolls away. Then what do you do? You always hear myths say, oh, don't look at it while you're welding, or don't look at a weld arc because it'll blind you. It will not blind you. It will hurt your eyes, but it will not blind you, okay? It's not like Medusa, where like you see it and then it's like, oh, no. Anything bright like that will blind you if you look at it long enough. I don't know if y'all know this, but there's this big gas ball kind of hovers up in that area. If you look at it, it'll blind you. Word of wisdom from a guy. Not a scientist, by the way. Just throwing that out there. Who's texting me? It's my dentist. By the way, guys, I just want to say, if your dentist doesn't text you with like updates on what's going on with like your plan of action or care, get a new dentist. I'm telling you, because mine does, and he's the man. Super nice guy. Teeth and Turbos on YouTube. Go look him up. That's a shameless plug for him. He didn't tell me to say that. I'm just telling you that, like, that guy is the bomb. One of the nicest people I've ever met in the YouTube world. I've met a couple just over the years going to different events. And I've met two people that stand out. I've met Cletus McFarland, super nice guy, obviously, but due to his fame and whatnot, not very personable. You know what I mean? Matt from Demolition Ranch. Clearly, I'm not talking trash because I got a lot of his stuff. But in Cletus too, I've got Cletus stickers over here and side-by-side blog and a couple other stickers here. Puddin's Fab Shop. There's Ruby. But no, what I was saying though is Dr. Parker Mitchell from Teeth and Turbos, one of the most genuine, nice dudes I've met, who's a YouTube personality. And I don't think he looks at himself as a YouTube personality, which is kind of cool. He's a dentist. That guy, he's not like a dentist that does YouTube. Like, that guy's a dentist, and every now and then makes a YouTube video. You know what I mean? Like, that's how cool he is. But who else? The side-by-side blog guys, they were really cool. They sat and talked to me and my wife for a good 5-10 minutes, which is a lot in the realm of meeting people from YouTube. Just because they're so busy, there's so many people that want to see them. But the guy who was probably one of the most genuine dudes, and if I ever get a chance again to meet him, I will just be over the moon, is Brett. A guy named Brett from PFI Speed. Brent, sorry. But that dude, I asked him if I could stop and take a picture, and I sat there and talked with that guy for a while. And he asked me, at that point in time, I was in a cast because of my hand, obviously. And he asked me, hey man, what happened? I hope you get better. And like, just sat there and took the time. Super like humble dude. So if you ever get a chance to meet people who do YouTube, I definitely recommend Teeth and Turbos Parker, side-by-side blog guys, and definitely Brett from PFI Speed. All super humble, super nice dudes that took way more time than they had to sit down and talk with somebody. A fan. But anyway, what I was doing was welding this turn down, because you may not remember, but I didn't finish that side. Everything's backwards. This side, back there, we were able to turn the exhaust and give it a turn down to where it'll go down instead of just wherever. This one is just straight out right now. So we're gonna weld this 90 on here, or 45 rather. 45, yeah, it's basically 90. That'll dump it in and down to the ground. I did manage to run a little piece of fuel line. It wasn't really worth filming. I did mess around with a couple brake lines here. That's from the toy hauler. It still needs to go back in. But in fact, there's the toy hauler out there. But we'll get back on that project soon. Don't worry, guys. I've just been slacking on the race car, and like I said in one of the last videos, June 18th we got to have this thing ripping and roaring, and I still got to do a full interior floor, firewall, everything inside the car It still has to have the brakes plumbed and bled. It still has to have the battery mounted, spare tires mounted. But the sheet metal work and body work is probably going to be the biggest issue. It needs an alignment pretty bad because the steering is like one. Ever since I changed the front springs to matching springs, because they were a hard right and a soft left, so the car would set up and go into a corner. But now they're even front springs out of a Dodge truck. We repurposed a lot of Dodge truck here. A lot, actually. More than you actually see here. But anyway, I'm starting to sweat pretty bad because it's hot out here. The AC, when the door is this open, the AC doesn't like to keep up. Which, I mean, it's just a small AC. And there's no insulation in the shop. So, not mad at it. During not summer months, it's perfect. My fan up there caught on fire and quit working, so we don't have any moving air. But I want to cut a hole in the top of this and put a fan. That way it will draw hot air out. But I don't know how that works. I don't know if it'll suck my cold air out or if it'll just evacuate the hot air from the top if I put it up. I don't know. Or maybe one up there, like a, I don't know. Anyway, we're getting, you know what, I'm so far off topic. Alright. Anyway, I think that's all we're going to do for the day. I'm going to tack that on. The weather's about to get pretty nasty. It's been thundering off in the distance. My battery on my camera phone here is dying. So I'll probably make a short video clip of me welding that on, and then I'm going to call it a day, guys. Sometimes you have to get creative and move your welder to the inside of the race car. Oh, got caught. Haha. Still dirty. But the upside about doing stuff like this is I can heat wrap it all the way down. One, to cover up how ugly it is, and two, so I don't burn my leg every time I get in and out of the car. So it's kind of a trick. We're like, oh man, you heat wrap it so you wouldn't burn yourself, and you're like, that's why I did it. Yeah, that's no, I didn't want to burn myself. That's yeah. But you know what they say, a grinder and some paint will make her the welder that I ain't. So anywho, now we got exhaust. So there's that. O2 bugs are in. We redid those. No, put those in. And that's about all the time that I have. That's not all the time I have. It's all the time I'm spending today because I am hot. I am like soaked. It's getting humid. It's about to storm. So I'm gonna grab my cellular device. Take a look around, make sure nothing's on fire. Nothing's on fire. See, that's how quick I go from welding to going the heck inside. Look at this weather. Look at this giant trailer. Isn't that crazy? Right? Yeah. Let's take a thumbnail. There we go. But we put a hole in the side of the tank. Inside of, like I said, this is a plastic tank inside of another metal tank, kind of like a firewall, if you will. So we put a hole in there. I'm going to put a grommet in there to protect this hose that comes out and goes down and under. Like that. Make sure we better put our drill inside, huh? Put that inside, that way it doesn't get rained on. Our exhaust tips are not exactly perfect, but see, I don't want to put the battery here because of all the tires and stuff. Oh, it's starting to rain. That giant truck. All right. Yep. Weather's getting bad. I'm going inside. I'll start editing this video. And I will catch y'all on the flip side.